We currently have over 400 mods out for Dragon's Dogma 2 on Nexus, and today we're gonna take a look at some of my favorites and how these can improve your experience by adding customizable difficulty, make enemies drop Ferrystones, and remove vocation requirements so that you can use any armor set available to you. Here are 20 mods I highly recommend you try out, especially if you already have completed the game and are looking for new challenges or just quality of life improvements in New Game Plus. First up, we have this mod that replaces 5% of enemy dropped items to Ferrystones. It only adds a chance to get a Ferrystone if the enemy drops an item, and it won't increase the chance of getting items dropped in the first place. During endgame, a lot of enemies will drop Ferrystones, but this mod adds this mechanic to the main game, which is very useful and not really game breaking in my opinion. It's important to note that this mod, as of the latest version, won't replace secret tokens, beetles, quest items and boss drops. Next, we have the Arisen's Almanac. This mod adds additional markers to the in-game map for a variety of different collectibles, seekers, tokens, golden trove beetles, and various kinds of chests. Now you can finally collect all the secret tokens you missed during your first playthrough, and without having to suffer through the pulsating chimes from the Trickster augment. If you're like me and you enjoy playing Warfarer, but wish you had more skills available for this vocation, well, here you have a mod that allows to preset skill sets for each vocation. When you're playing as Warfarer and using the rearmament skill to switch to a new weapon, it will read your configuration and set the skill set accordingly. Now you have 3 skills for each vocation you switch to. This makes it even harder to remember all the skills you have selected, but if you can master it, you'll become a force to be reckoned with. Here's a simple mod to improve your fashion dogma. It removes the job requirements on armor and weapons. Use anything with any vocation. This mod is safe to use on your pawns and you won't get banned from the rift. The pawn will simply not show up for people who are not using this mod, of course. So even though it's not a ban, your pawn will not be listed in the rift anymore. Next, we have a mod that gives you a smaller and more compact lantern model for your pawn and Arisen. This also includes reduced poly count for the modded mesh for a minor performance boost. Since the modded lantern emits the same light level as vanilla, this is one of those mods you should just get and have on for the small performance boost. If you enjoy Soulsborne combat with lock-on and the ability to dodge for all classes, this is the mod for you. This adds a lock-on camera system to Dragon's Dogma 2. Look towards an enemy and click the right analog stick to lock onto them. Then push the stick to the left or right to switch to another target. To dodge, you simply need to double tap circle to perform a thief swift step. This works on all vocations. The mod also features a drift camera, where the camera will move to the left or to the right of the player depending on if you're running left or right. There is also a slow motion parry option for fighters and the ability to disable soft lock and automatic tracking of nearby enemies during combat. Here we have a mod that addresses 2 issues players face when trying to manage their inventory during combat. This creator have made many mods that improve the UI in the game, so check those out as well. This one I think is especially helpful since it makes it easier to tell a potion's purpose by a glance, with custom debilitation tags like we see here. It also slightly alters the color for some of the potions that had the same color initially. They also made all common potions rounded and the quality potions edged to further improve our ability to quickly find the potion we need in combat. This next mod is a work in progress, but I wanted to include it in the list since it actually tries to fix the extremely pixelated look of the clouds in the vanilla game. It's really strange to see in an otherwise great looking game, so I hope they find a fix for this soon. Next, we have a really interesting mod that solves some of the game's shortcomings when it comes to enemy drops and how gear and weapons are presented to the player during a playthrough. This mod adds some spice to consecutive playthroughs by removing fixed gear drops from certain encounters, removing all gear from shops, and instead adding a custom handmade drop table for each class. You can change the likelihood of gear drops to be usable by your vocation with RE framework. This essentially gives us more incentive to actually fight monsters to get better loot, and I'm definitely gonna try this out on a fresh playthrough. If you want to collect all the secrets tokens in Dragon's Dogma 2, chances are you'll need a staff and use Levitate to get up to areas that are otherwise unreachable for most vocations. With this mod, you can levitate with all vocations simply by pressing space to levitate, release it to keep the current height. Hold space again to go up, press E to stop levitation. If you want to go down, press E to freefall. When you get to the height you want, just hold space again, and you will instantly stop falling and stay at the current height. If you're tired of waiting for boss respawns when you're farming for upgrade materials or just want to fight bosses faster, this mod is for you. The original boss repopulation time seems to be 3 days. This mod just lets this value become 0 by hooking the function, in turn making bosses return again in just 1 day. Next up, we have a mod I've been using a lot lately. With it, you can instantly teleport your party to key locations around the map without the need for a ferrystone or port crystal. This form of traveling is not recommended if you haven't finished the game yet, since I think exploration is one of the game's biggest strengths. But if you just want to get quickly around the map, this is the easiest way to do it. If you're like me and rested a lot at inns during your first playthrough, well, chances are you get the Innkeeper and Wernworth as your beloved. Now, if you want to, let's say, unlock the secret cutscene that plays when you have high enough affinity with your main pawn, you can finally see this visually with this mod. It displays a progress bar with the current affinity for characters, including your main pawn, while the player is standing nearby. Here you have a simple mod that hides the helmet for both your pawn and Arisen. I think this should have been included in the game's options, since the character creator in this game lets us make some impressive looking faces that most of the time can get covered up by helmets. But here you have a fix for that if you are on PC. The loss gauge mechanic in this game is something I really enjoy. It makes exploration more challenging and planning your journey more important. But something I felt lacked was the importance of edible items you find in the wild. This mod aims to give food the ability to restore some of your loss gauge while maintaining the need for camping as well. This is how it works. Each edible item restores some of your loss gauge while healing. Potions and special items maintain the same functionality and doesn't restore your loss gauge, and rotten food cannot restore your loss gauge. This mod lets your pawns take over the role of guilds and innkeepers. When talking to your pawn, you can now change vocation, deposit and withdraw items. Next, we have a mod that lets you create custom skill presets together with weapons and armor sets for each vocation. It's a great tool for setting up all your classes just the way you want it, with quick access while exploring. With the skill preset cycling, you can effectively use all your skills in combat, which greatly improves the variety of combos in combat. This is an amazing mod for New Game Plus when you have most of your vocations maxed out and want to quickly switch between them. If you're looking to transmog equipment to your liking, this mod got you covered. It allows changing equipment appearance to whatever you like in the same category. Here's a great mod that balances difficulty in New Game Plus and beyond. The game stops scaling very early, and New Game Plus runs can become pointless fast if enemies aren't really posing a threat anymore. This mod attempts to help solve some of the game's combat balance issues, primarily by making enemies deal more damage, take less damage, and be less easy to stagger. The exact amounts are configurable, so you can tune the difficulty to something you're happy with for the stage of the game you're in. You can also just boost the damage or stagger values if you want to make the game easier, of course. And while tweaking these modifiers isn't sufficient to truly fix all of the problems with Dragon's Dogma 2's balance problems in New Game Plus, together with this mod, we are getting really close to what the game could have been if balanced differently. This mod was created to truly challenge New Game Plus players with extremely difficult, handcrafted and flavorful challenges that require mastery of the game to overcome. It is designed to work together with the other mods in their New Game Plus series. If you're currently in New Game Plus and feel that the game just isn't challenging anymore, then I highly recommend you try this out. These are all amazing mods that transforms your second playthrough into a completely different experience. Big thanks to all the modders in this list for improving an already amazing game. I hope you guys enjoy your modded Dogma playthrough, and I'll see you guys in the next one.